Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for the next installment in our new figure showcase series. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is basically where I get a chance to unbox a newer figure that I'm adding into the collection, and more often than not, it will be a more recent release. So for today's installment, we're going to be taking a look at the Inart Ron Weasley figure based on his appearance in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So this is my second Inart figure, and this week you're going to see basically a trend to go towards the rooted hair style of figures. We're going to be looking at a Hot Toys one later on, but for today, Ron Weasley. Now, if you're a fan of the Harry Potter series at all, Ron, Hermione, and Harry, clearly that key trio of characters that goes throughout every single story, every single book, and every single movie. So it makes sense if you're going to get Harry, at least for me, that you're going to try to complete the set with Ron. Hermione is already up for pre-order. I already ordered her. There are rumors that we're going to get Professor Severus Snape and Albus Dumbledore, so very excited to have this in hand. Now this is the deluxe option, which is the rooted hair style of figure that also includes the diorama base and a bunch of additional accessories. So very excited to get this in hand. It is a smaller figure, so sometimes there is a little bit of sticker shock when it comes to how much you're paying for the size of the figure you're getting compared to other 6-scale offerings, but it is what it is. Now, let's take a look at everything Inart is giving us. And this one actually has a lot of interesting components to it. I actually left the sculpt in the box just to show you how it gets delivered. Very similar to what they've done in the past. It's how basically Hot Toys is doing their artisan line as well, just to protect the sculpt overall and the rooted hair. As far as accessories, you're getting a ton of components to create the diorama. This one is a little bit different from what we got with Harry in that it does include a facsimile or or an imitation of the moving portraits in the background. So you're getting the standards with him. You're getting some bits of furniture, different hands, a slightly different look for the outdoors appearance, and then just a bunch of accessories that you'd expect from a student going to school. So let's jump into those a little bit more carefully. And the first thing we're going to start with, as we normally do, are the hands. So you do get two styles of hands. You get some bare ones and then some gloved ones. The gloved ones are done very nicely, where there is a texture on the surface that does kind of look like a wool or cashmere style glove. And then, of course, the bare hands are done really well with some great paint apps, particularly at the nails where you can kind of see the white where the nail meets the skin. So good hands, very serviceable here. Now, as far as accessories, and I kind of lump things together just to avoid going into things too much, you do get some of the standard candy, like the jelly beans, the every flavored jelly beans, the chocolate frogs. You do get some chocolate frogs as well in different poses, which are cool. You do get a stack of cards. Now look, the cards themselves are decent. They're okay. I mean, they're just a printed element. They feel a little cheap, but again, at the scale, what else could you possibly expect? And I will give Inart credit that there is a different image on each one of those cards. Now, as far as everything else, right, the chicken legs and the pieces of I guess candy, everything looks pretty decent here, so can't complain. Next, you get the sorting hat, which we also got with Harry and is also coming with the Hermione figure. This one's an interesting one. I'm not sure why we're getting 3 versions of the hat. It makes sense to come with Harry, but not sure why we're getting it with all of them. It looks fine, right? There's a very clear face to the hat overall, and it's done with some mixed media, so it looks good. Next, you get Scabbers the rat, which, of course, for all of us Harry Potter fans, we know the importance of this creature as the movies progress. But look, it's a rat. I will say it's not as detailed as I would have thought, and it looks almost a little blah. And I bring this up because I've seen Damn Toys do more animated style looking rats at a different scale that just look better. So it's okay. It works. You know, it's a small enough accessory or creature that it's not going to be a deal breaker, but I think it could have been done a little bit better. Now, as far as the next accessories, you do get the binoculars that he uses during the Quidditch match. Those are done very nicely with some actual lens pieces, and they're very oversized as well with what looks like an actual leather strap. And then you get his wand, of course, which at this scale, it's very hard to see what makes them super distinctive, but it's done very well, and it matches what we saw on screen. Then, as makes sense for a character like Ron. You do get some school books, right? You do get a variety of them. Some of them we already got with Harry, and then you do get an adventure book of Martin Miggs that is more of a recreational read. Now, as opposed to the Harry Potter books that we got, the books that came with Harry, here there is some duplication of pages. So in some of the original textbooks that we looked at with the first release and the similar books here, Inart did give us different pages for everything, which was pretty amazing. Here, with some of the books, they did duplicate the pages. So look, it's not a deal breaker at all, but just something to note. And then you do get the alternate outfit for the winter exterior looks with the cloak that does have the Gryffindor crest on the chest. And then you get that distinctive Gryffindor scarf with the yellow and the red. So it's nice to create an alternate look as well, and you'll see it on the figure. This is actually a piece that was really surprising, and it makes sense for Ron given his appearance in the first movie. You do get his chess set, and you do get two pieces to create that scene where basically Ron shows us how they're playing wizard chess. It's pretty impressively done. Every piece is nicely detailed, and it is, I will say, they are affixed to the board, which is nice so that it just looks good, with the exception of those two pieces. And you do also get a table that you can use to basically stand the chessboard on, but it's a great accessory that definitely brings to mind what we saw on screen and kind of a pivotal moment of the movie. Now, the diorama base, you do get the standard Inart magnetic base, which actually sits within this larger plate. You do also get this faux wood flooring to recreate the Gryffindor common room floor. It is plastic. At the price point, would have been nice to get maybe a little bit mixed media, but listen, I'm not gonna say Inart messed up here. And then you do get this bench. Now, the nice thing with the background here is it's very similar to what we got with Harry, in the sense that there is kind of an applique that creates that texture to the wall with the Gryffindor common room wallpaper. But then you do get these portraits that are done with a kind of a lithograph to create that look as you move from side to side and create that kind of shifting of the portraits to make them look alive. So that's pretty awesome. Now let's jump into the figure and look. Let's start with the sculpt. The rooted hair, it is pasted down there. There's basically very little give on this, which is great, because that's a big concern for me as far as trying to pose these, that I'm going to mess up the hair. So it seems pretty nicely affixed there. As far as likeness, the eyes in particular are so well done. I have to give Inart credit. They look so lifelike. And the sculpt overall looks decent, especially for a younger character where there aren't a lot of defining characteristics, right? It's not like we're looking at an old Harrison Ford with tons of wrinkles. So the likeness is there, and I do like the expression that Inart gave him, because it's very Ron in that sense. Now, looking at the rest of the figure, I will say this. One thing that immediately stands out are the robes. Harry's robes were kind of a distinct dark black, which looked great, looked very new. Ron's are a little more gray, and I think, given the story behind the character, that, he is one of many siblings, and he does get a lot of hand-me-downs, it is kind of a nice look at, a slightly more worn, cloak to him. But overall appearance, too, it's the same that we got with Harry, right? The uniform's done really well with the sweater, the Gryffindor tie, the white shirt, then it's just a series of slacks and molded shoes. So nothing to complain here. And then the bottom of the Gryffindor robe basically is wired, so you can pose him up a little bit, which is great. Now, look, basically this comes down to the figure and the display stand, and Inart did a great job here. I'm not going to discredit them at all. I think they did an awesome job, and this line is going to continue to grow. So it's going to be nice to have all three characters together with the same diorama pieces to really create a faux Gryffindor common room in your collection. As far as posability, the figure does pose well. I will say the ankles are not as strong as I would like, and I did have the figure topple over a couple of times, and because of the way that Inart does the head, where it's a magnetic connector, the head did plop off. So just be very careful with these, right? I appreciate that Inart is trying to do something a little bit different here, but having more sturdy ankles would have been a big help. I know there's the magnetic feature something that I'm gonna have to work on. But look, overall, once you get him in a stable pose, the figure does stand nicely. And then from an accessory perspective, with everything that he includes, you can really do a lot with him, from having him with the winter outfit, to having him with the school robes, to just having him without robes, sitting down, having this chicken legs, right? Those were pretty funny accessories at first, but again, right, if you're a fan of the movie, they're very specific and they really do match the character, and I think they do give the character and the figure as a result a little bit of personality. So I do think those were actually really good accessories, and really there are a lot of options for display here, and everything just feels well, right? The tailoring in particular is really well done, especially for such a smaller figure. So I do have to give again Inart credit for the work they put into this, because as far as this Harry Potter line, I do feel like you are getting a lot. Is it worth the price point? I think that's debatable. And it's interesting because there was a sculpted hair version of this that did not include the accessories, so especially the diorama. But I like the deluxe. I think it's going to go well once all three figures are together, and I'm looking forward to see where Inart goes with this line, because I'm, as of this point, all in with it. So a great figure overall. Very happy to have it, and I think if you do get him in hand, I don't think, and you're a fan of the movie in particular, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So great work by Inart over here all around, with some very minor nitpicks. So let me know your thoughts, and as always, we'll touch base on the next video.